In this video, I'm going to show a scenario where you would create a vaulted ceiling in a room by manually adding ceiling planes, but where the ridge is at a certain predetermined height. And so what I have here, now keep in mind I do a lot of post frame building, and so this is going off in my template file, which has some stuff in it related to post frame building. But I'm gonna first go into my default settings here. Go to edit default settings, and I tend to do my first floor level on level 2 in Chief. And now there's other people that discuss that, but I modified my template file where my first floor is actually technically the second floor in Chief. And so to adjust the ceiling heights of my second floor, of my first floor I should say, I gotta go to the second floor under floor levels in the default settings. And I'm gonna, for this demonstration, make the default room height 9 feet. And so where it says rough ceiling, I typed in 9 feet and then click OK. Now I'm gonna go into, by multi-selecting, I'm gonna make sure all of these rooms follow the default. And so I'm going to, holding down the control key, click in the open space of these rooms. And I'm going to open up the room specification dialog while having all those rooms selected. And I'm just going to make sure the ceiling, floor, rough ceiling, finished ceiling, that this stuff is set to use the default. And it is, and I'm going to click OK. There's the 9-foot ceiling height that it's referencing from the floor default. Now for this illustration, I'm going to use the kitchen as my example. And over here on the right, I have a camera view open showing currently the ceiling in that kitchen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the room specification dialog box for just the kitchen only selecting the kitchen. And for this demonstration, I'm going to make the rough ceiling in this room. I'm just going to, for this demonstration, maybe use 12 feet. And this can be whatever the value you want. But that 12 foot, that's also going to be the height of the ridge. And so I'm going to click OK on that. Well, before I click OK, I want to deselect flat ceiling over this room. When you deselect flat ceiling over that room, by default, that's going to add a cathedral in the room automatically, but it's going to match the roof pitches of your roof planes above. And so in some instances that may give you what you're looking for, but in other instances it may not be what you want. But for this demonstration, I'm going to manually place roof planes to achieve what I want. And that 12 foot that I typed in for rough ceiling, I'm going to use that for the height of my ridge up the ceiling. So I'm going to click OK. And up here there's an icon called Roof Tools. And then there's an icon where it looks like inside of the room and the ceiling is red. That's for a ceiling plane. And if you ever worked with manual roof planes, the the manual ceiling planes have a lot of similarities to how they work, the same with roof planes. And so I decided in my mind that I want the ridge to run the length of this room instead of the width. And so I want my ridge to be parallel to that 18-foot measurement. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in where my walls are. I'm going to zoom in where the drywall is at the wall framing, and I'm going to start there and click and drag all the way to the opposite point. And now, sometimes you can click to make it a little easier. Sometimes you can click and drag to the midpoint of the room, but for some reason, the midpoint snap is not snapping. And so that's not a big deal. I'm just going to click and place the roof plane. Now you can already see in the 3D view that it already started to place a roof plane and mess with the ceiling. Now I'm not going to be too concerned with how it looks right now. I'm just going to select that roof plane, go to copy, reflecting about the center of the kitchen. And just like with manually editing roof plane, I can click an edge of this roof plane, like the actual polyline representing the ceiling plane, I should say. And then there's an edit toolbar icon down here that says join roof plane. Join roof planes will work on ceiling planes. I can click that. I can click on the ceiling plane, and it will join those two ceiling planes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select by holding down the control key, selecting both of those ceiling planes. Another option I have for selecting ceiling planes is I can click the ceiling plane icon, and I thought it was the shift key, hold down shift and put a box around the kitchen, and it selected only the ceiling planes. I can open up the ceiling plane dialog box, and because earlier I said I wanted the ceiling planes, the ridge, to be at 12 feet, I'm going to, for now, lock the roof pitch, which is by default my template set up where the ceiling planes are going to be 4 and 12 roof pitch by default. I'm going to lock the pitch because so I can type in my value for the ridge, and I'm going to type in 12 feet. And then I'm going to click OK. Now, while those are still selected, I'm going to reopen the ceiling plane specification dialog box. And this time, I'm going to lock the ridge height because my ridge height is now at 12 foot, which is what I want. And by locking that, I can adjust my roof pitch, or ceiling pitch, I should say, in this case, to whatever I want, and she will keep the ceiling height at the ridge that I specified earlier. And so for this demonstration, I'm just going to use a roof pitch of 8 and 12, and Chief is a powerful program in that if I want to type in a roof pitch, I can type in 8 space IN space 12, and it will recognize that as a roof pitch. And then I can click OK. If I wanted to see what that roof pitch is in degrees for some reason, I can click pitch in degrees, and it will change it to degrees. as a secondary option, if for some reason you wanted to type in a specific degree for your roof slope, you have that option. But there's my 8-inch roof slope, and I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to go over to the 3D view to show you. I now have a manually placed vaulted ceiling that is 8 and 12 roof pitch while maintaining the ceiling height at the ridge of 12 inches.